Rising Phoenix.
Hey!
She answers to Miss Phoenix. I don't think she wants to be called Rising. Kyla to her friends. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for her.
So we do some pizzas, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go in.
No F-bombs?
You can only a couple. Go for it. We're adults.
Okay. Shit. Oh, that was totally like a reflex. Okay. Do you have anything you want to hear?
I want to fix this.
That's cool.
Keep it better. Try.
Hello? Okay, there we go. Is there anything you want to hear in particular?
Start with the math one.
Okay. There's only but one truth. 1 + 1 will always equal 2, and remembering that math was never really my strong suit, I'm wondering what is the equation that will get me back together with you. So if 1 + 1 = 2, now divide that by 1 and we're still whole, but I kind of feel 1 too. So we split by another divide, and 2 and 1 are by each other's side. Now love is now in a new transition, so 2/1 become a transposition that's 1/2. Just half. Half of what we used to be. Fighting now incessantly, and I'm still troubled by the math, and I'm trying to make this right, looking for some sort of sine or cosine, but I'm going off into a tangent. There's a test coming up soon, and I don't think we can withstand it. And if we briefly change subjects to our history, statistically it is proven that we will fail miserably. Now, I've never really been good at topology, so if I'm wrong, please correct me, but are we doomed to be warped like the Mobius strip indefinitely? No beginning nor ending in sight, just fighting to an infinity. Einstein said, don't worry about your difficulties in math, I assure you mine are greater. But trying to solve our problems is like figuring calculus with no calculator, and then seeing that we save the most difficult problems to solve for later, what once was less than, now has a sign of becoming greater. And even Pythagoras couldn't help us solve them, because if I'm A and you're B, we still can't see the square root of our problems, and I'm trying to solve them, looking for some sort of right angle, 90 degrees, can we go back to 180 please? But we always do a 360.
Oh.
And I'm troubled by the circle of events, because the same things we seem to circumvent, never solving the problem completely, only letting it grow exponentially. Now, where were we? 1/2 is 0.5, that's a percent of 50. Just 50%. Both of us wanting 100, but neither of us giving it. And now that you're gone, 50% times nothing is 0. And if we could just exchange our chromosomes and replace them with binomials, you and I could become X and Y. But even in your absence, I'm wondering what comes next. Looking at this, it can't be right, because I'm still problem solving for an X.
Oh.
Today is actually a very special day for me. It is my Liberation Day. It is also Women's History Month. And I'm usually a woman. If you pay me enough, I'm not. No, I'm sorry. I'm a lady. But actually, it is really the anniversary of a very pivotal point in my life. A point where I literally said to myself, if I don't leave right now, in this moment, then I might not make it out alive. So, this is the poem about that story. This is all true. Because people are like, oh, is that true? I'm like, no. It is all true. March 27, 2009 was the day that I pulled out a knife on him. Because I knew the next time he hit me, one of us would have to die. And I now felt like it was his time to do a little dying, to do a little crying, to sacrifice his wealth for the enrichment of someone else. March 27, 2009 was the day that I pulled out a knife on him. Because I knew the next time he hit me, one of us would have to die. And I now felt like it was his time to do a little dying, to do a little crying, to sacrifice his wealth for the enrichment of someone else. And if you ask me, I may tell you freely that I thought I loved him completely, but the only time I would feel his love is when he would beat me. Because see, his passion was in his rage, and his nurtures when he tried to play doctor and rearrange my face, but left me with a surgical scar that serves as a reminder to the fact he was able to punch me so hard that I flew over the couch and my face landed on the glass coffee table. Or how the presence of his own blood didn't deter him from drawing mine and causing me harm, because he still proceeded to punch me in my face as his infant nephew lay in my arms. And while he was giving me physical bruises, he also left me with emotional scars, and they say that I'll heal everything in due time. Well, maybe the judge should have given him a little more, because I still have nightmares gasping for air of how he tried to cut short mine. And it was crazy how he could be so convincing. Like, he even had me thinking, well, maybe I fell and he didn't trip me, or maybe I bumped into the refrigerator and it didn't hit me, or how he would pour me with sob stories like, baby, I won't do it no more. But if that's the case, how could he be sorry for something he claims to not have done in the first place? Telling his family that I beat myself up like I was the chick from a thin line between love and hate. But see, his hate for me would always cross the line. And my love for him would want and wish and hope this would be the last time, but it never was. And just in case I was ever 100% convinced of his innocence, he would always spark a new memory, because I still get inflamed when I hear his name. And wish the thoughts of him that I disseminate would disintegrate in total. But that's one thing about a memory. Ain't enough lighter fluid in the world to burn a mental photo, because I can still smell him. Sweat mixed with liquor, mixed with depression, mixed with cigarette. The smell of oppression is one that you could never forget, or the feeling of not even wanting to go home. But to love your tormentor, call it Stockholm Syndrome, because I loved him, or at least I thought so. But I couldn't even love myself enough to let him go, but I couldn't because he was my brown sugar babe. I got high off his love and he didn't know how to behave. Mahogany, misogyny, coffee-colored hands, trying to permanently stain each tooth, mocha melancholy, trying to steal my youth, sweet chocolate lies, covering up my truth as ebony eyes were shielded by caramel eyelids from punches, because pain doesn't hurt as much when you can't see it coming. Bruises with rainbow-colored hues, because marks are a little harder to feel when you incorporate verbal abuse. Because blood always comes out a little thicker when it's forced, and tears always taste a little saltier when they're yours, and sex always loses its pleasure when it's coerced, and dying feels just a little bit easier when you're being killed by someone you adore. It's okay, you can clap. I guess I'll just do like one more and get out of your way.
I'm not sick of her. Kyla.
What happened?
The North Star.
The drug piece?
Yes.
Okay. Drugs. Drugs are bad, okay? If you can hear me, it's cool. You don't need to just, yeah. Drugs are bad, okay? Drugs are bad, okay? Right, because college kids don't do drugs. Wait a minute. So I made a joke last night because, like, the whole Trayvon Martin thing, and I'm not going to be, like, uber political, even though we all kind of know this shit sucks. I live in Seminole County, like, all my life, so not all of it, but most of it. But anyway, so my mom's, like, they were talking about in the news, they were like, oh, you know, he was caught with, like, marijuana residue, and I was like, so are you saying he's, like, 75% of the population? And then I was like, the other 25% don't even remember that they smoke weed because they smoke that much. But anyway, I think it sucks, but whatever. I'm a product of Seminole County, I guess. But this drugs are bad, okay? They no longer have the right to call you a monkey as they crack a whip over your back, so instead they whip you with crack while the monkey stays on your back feeding for enslavement. Knowing that addicts don't want emancipation, and the only proclamation that dehydrated mouths can utter is for another hit of ignorance. Because they know that no matter how high you get, once you get a fix, you will never lose your shackles. Because now that it's legal for us to read, they have to find new ways to tackle our thinking. Even at the sacrifice of a few pristine whites who receive 28 days in rehab for black serving sentences just short of life. Little kids dream about no more than the four corners of their neighborhoods instead of the four corners of the world, which they could explore, but they weren't taught how to properly dream. Only nightmares of despair become their pillow fare, even when they are wide-eyed, staring at the world around them and the everyday pain that surrounds them, so glimmers of hope become hopeless glimmers into a future that grows slower than it withers. And the only options they are presented with are to be the problem or the fix, the baller or the hit, the cook or the consumer, so street pharmacists become Darwinists executing the survival of the fittest. They stock up on bricks and kilos, but what they don't know is that a bird is just a euphemism for Jim Crow. And that they're nothing more than modern-day Uncle Tom standing on street corners executing master's orders of genocide. Take pride in your city. Rep where you come from. Just be sure to wear dog tags so we can identify your body when it crumbles from a war on drugs where a gang of folks are left crippled in blood. D-boys ready to destroy humanity. Darfur at your back door. You got your AK steady?
Get it.
Ready, aim, fire at your own people. Death will make us all separate but equal. White crops littering southern plantations just as it has now, but 200 years later and south of the equator. You are still working those fields. How does it feel to be a human tool? Your only reparations are 40 acres and a human mule. Because they used to make us sing Negro spirituals to make sure we were happy and would work real hard. Now they got us humming 16 bars because rims shine just like the North Star. The inferno of slavery still has life. It still burns in KKK crosses and crack pipes. They still want a people party society, but you think it's cool for you to use socially. You can't just casually snort with your cohorts. There's no such thing as a party drug. This is a parting drug. Parting and gapping generations where little children look to their grandmothers for veneration because their mothers have relapsed into enslavement. Selling their bodies as if they stood on auction blocks for the price of a few rocks, but captivity ain't so bad when you can't feel it. And mental healing calls them symptoms of withdrawal. You wouldn't want to feel uncomfortable fighting for your right to be free. But see, slaves have a shorter life expectancy. Our soul has died too early. The heart of our community now ceases to beat. The cause of death is an OD from succumbing to the numbing of chemical slavery.
Woo! Woo! Logic Phoenix, ladies and gentlemen.
Good?
Want to hear one more?
Yeah.
You guys want to hear one more?
I was going to do two, but I'll just do one. It's cool.
Do two.
Okay. Interestingly,
Do you?
okay. Interestingly enough, that poem that I wrote about the domestic violence, I met him here at UCI. Yay! UCI. I finally graduated. It took me 10 years. That's all. I started August of 1. I graduated August 11. People are like, oh, you're getting your doctorate? I was like, no, I'm mastering my bachelor's. Okay. I wrote this poem. This is one of my favorites. It's a pretty new one. It's about friends who suck.
Amen.
And I think we all can appreciate that. I mean, that stuff. The lexicons of the relationships that shape us like hexagons never read stop and watch your inner circle. Who will pretend to be a bunch of squares only trying to box you in. They'll be your untimely undoing in the end, because laughter is always harder the farther it is from your face. And honesty was lost with the crayon box that told you that the only thing stopping you was your imagination, not your association. Guilty parties part with filthy hands parting, asking for forgiveness and forgiving another hand out. Hands out of pockets are the most welcome, while hands across the face are the most received. These same hands covered my eyes trying to deceive me. Keep your friends close, but dispose of those who consort with your enemies. I loved real hard when I was hardly loved. It's my fault. I can't blame anyone for my bad taste. The bad taste in my mouth found out that I was laughed and talked about, but it's okay, because I'm the one who put myself on display. Center stage so I could be aimed at. It's a shame that even when they hit me, they don't know they're doing themselves in, because friends are nothing without each other. These knees weren't used for praying nearly as much as they were for supporting and holding these legs up that will walk 1,000 miles for another. Guess that's why you've forsaken me. Feet blister so I would mistakenly dare ask you to walk at least one in my shoes. I'd rather buy you a new pair. But you probably stare me in my eyes and kick me when I'm down with them, and now we are no longer down for each other. The scale of amicability when friends split vary as much as the lies that ended, so it's okay if you talk about me behind my back. Just tell the truth. Tell them all the things that I did for you. Tell them that positivity surrounded all of my actions and that negative ions had an eye on everything I tried to become. Take all your false charges, add them together, and we are still left polarized because you can't attract positivity with lies. Too bad you can't look me in my eyes when you stab me in the back. Because I loved you like a, nah, we was better than that. Or at least I thought so. Or maybe I just thought slow or not at all, so it's wrong for me to call you thoughtless when really it's my fault this situation happened in the first place. And now I find myself trying to rebuke your fake public hugs and kisses, not in the attempt of being hostile. It's just that Judas was my least favorite apostle. Woo! It's possible that one of us forgot the adage, don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's no wonder my hand's been so abused that the numbness makes them feel bound. See, I held you down and you held me under. They say the true scale of a friend is one who will stick around when situations get thick. Well, you got thin, became non-existent, and disappeared. But I should have held myself in higher esteem. See, just because you hang around the same people doesn't make them your peers. So it's my fault. I'm the one to blame for sometimes having bad taste in friends because, see, friends and foes start with the same letter, and they both can F you in the end.
Yeah!
Thank you. All right, I'm going to do one, and I'm done. I'm going to do color contacts because I think it's great for college kids. Okay.
Oh, just around.
Do you masturbate?
What?
My mom says that. Do you, boo? I was like, no more BET for you. Parental control for all. She says that. She says that. Do you, boo? I'm like, really, Mom? Really? You work for a phone company. Like, come on, like, really? I would give you a glimpse into the window of my soul, but see, I wear color contacts now. And if you feel I have too much emotion in my face, and I'll be sure to lower my brow to a position more suitable, so that the evidence of my perfection is irrefutable, and if you feel my hands are too bland, then I'll be sure to suffocate my cuticles with more colors than MAC makeup. And maybe line and cover this girl's entire face up with like a burqa, and I'm sorry that my eyes will be the only things to show, because it remains is the fact that the eyes are a window to the soul, and I reiterate that I wear color contacts. So that when you're looking in my direction, you can't see me sing, you sing my imperfections. And I should be confident that you won't see any of them because I have done my best to be the image of perfection to men. But it is my confidence that is the reason for my disgust with the reflection. Not as concerned about the words to my lips as the collagen injections. And in college, I should have been more concerned with knowledge collection instead of measuring my self-worth by the number of erections. You see, I was cloaking myself behind unsuitable men. I remained in hiding because we are incorrectly taught that behind every good man stands a good woman instead of beside him. Without the possibility of just standing alone, processing and bearing images and thoughts of my own, or conquering the fallacy of penis envy, not by the number of penises in me. You see, listening while you compare her and me is like apples to oranges, but she's got melons and I can't afford them. And these mental felons keep stealing any feeling that I have of self-worth. So instead of feeling better about myself, I just feel worse. Complaining about the position of my nose on my face, or that my nostrils take up too much space, but not breathing in the knowledge that my eyes were set farther apart to have a broader view. But it remains as a fact that I wear color contacts, so I have a rose-colored image like you. Because I have plucked and peeled and exfoliated my whole sense of feeling, because you are more concerned with my waist-to-hip ratio than my IQ mince of dealings. And it is my sole goal to be the most appealing. Extensions of myself beyond normal bounds, my black beauty sweeps the ground. I endure hours of pain, proving my beauty in this chair. But as long as you are satisfied that I have good hair. Because though all my bills may not be paid, my hair is perfectly laid, perfectly coiffed so that it is perfectly soft and glistens in the sunlight. I'll be a 10 next year, but currently I'm a 9. My achievement will come through my emotions, not being too soft, not being too rough, not smiling too little nor laughing too much. And as I throw my head back in amusement, I understand that I'm fit for abusing by the hands of my foes disguised as my lovers. My self-gratification coming solely from the gratification of others. The murderous type, with the intents to kill me, swallowing my ecstasy like a pill, see these pleasures exposing the stark 32 in my mouth. You well informed about my well-practiced travels down south. Complete intentions on giving you the best brains and sex in bed, but never using my knowledge, only using my head. Not concerned about the astronomical goals that can be achieved by one girl, but well aware I can suck and fuck you out this world, leaving you reeling. I am ill concerned with my personal feelings, my happiness only coming from the validation of others. I'm taught that to first love myself, I must first be my lover, and that I should really look into my soul to find the things that I truly lack, but that remains to be seen, because I wear color contacts. Thank you.
Woo!